going. I'm David with Lookout Mountain Honeybees. We're going to show you how to put in a package of bees this afternoon. It's this time of the year and everybody's buying them, and you know, a lot of people are surprised. They show up here and don't have a clue on how to do a package. First thing you want to do, you want to start out and make your med mix, or which we call the medicated syrup that we sell, and get your brood builder patties ready. The med mix comes in a 7-pound bag of sugar with the antibiotics added to it. You pre-mix this with half a gallon of water. It makes a gallon of syrup, and you get a half a pound of brood builder. You want to get these so you can get your hive started off to a bang. It helps improve the queen's laying ability, and the first few larvae, eggs that's laid, the larvae are fed real well while they're gathering that pollen and get started. First thing you want to do is take the brood builder and take it and cut it in 2 strips. One strip will feed 2 hives twice, so you get 4 strips out of that half a pound. Cutting the strip about 1.5 inches wide, you peel the paper off one side of it and get it ready for your hive. Next thing you do, you mix your sugar syrup that's in the 7 pounds of sugar with a half a gallon of water with the medication, and that medication is strictly for stress more than anything, but it also means their bangs and broods are being dumped out of a hive into a cage and back out of a cage into a hive. It's already pre-mixed and put in a feeder jar. We took a portion of it and put it in a sprayer bottle to spray the package down when we start. We get the feeder, we put the feeder on the front of the hive and get it ready, and we set it up away from the entrance, and we leave a 3-inch entrance to one side. After we get through feeding them, we take the feeder completely off and put a complete enclosure strip and reduce it down to 3 inches by 3/8. Now we've got that done, we want to open the hive up, get your top off, get your inner cover off, take each frame, spray them down with sugar syrup. This gives a little bit of liquid and nourishment for the bees because they've been trapped in that cage for several days. And you want to give them something to drink when they first start out. You take 4 frames out of the hive. That'll give you enough room to dump the bees in when you get started. If you don't do that, you crowd yourself and you crowd the bees, you wind up killing some of the bees and also possibility of getting stung a little bit more. It's definitely what you don't want to do. Alright, I've got 4 frames, and there goes my sugar syrup. Remember that. Put 1 frame on one side and 4 frames on the other side. We got 1 frame out, so it'll be 5 frames. I'm sorry, I set 1 extra frame out. Alright, now that I've got that done, I got my med mix ready. I make sure you put on your veil. You don't want to get stung on the face, even though these bees are fairly gentle this time of the year. Less likely to get stung, but you don't want to take no chances. I recommend putting on your gloves. If you're not used to working bees, wear your gloves during this procedure. You want to remove your plywood from the top. Remove all the staples from the box. You don't want to crush those staples in your hand. You want to take all the staples out of the piece of plywood because you're going to need that again in a second. Okay, your queen is open. The screen on the queen cage is open to one side. So you don't want to spray sugar syrup in on that side, you'll kill the queen. What you want to do is spray the opposite side, spray a little bit of syrup on them, bump them down, spray them again. Once you do that, get your queen cage loose, you'll pop out that other staple. Get all your staples out. You want to turn it over to the side and get your can up. That makes it easier to get the cage out. Once you do that, you take the can out, Shake the bees off the queen cage, put the piece of plywood over the top. Now your bees are fairly well contained. Your queen is alive and inside the cage. That's the first thing you want to check, make sure the queen is alive. You take and pop the cork out of the candy in. Once you do that, you want to look and punch a hole in the candy. That'll give the bees a little bit of an advantage of chewing the candy out to release the queen. Once you've done that, you want to take the cage, set it to the side, put your queen cage inside the hive. I'll put the candy down with the opening down. I've never had a problem with the queen getting trapped in there. I take the piece of brood builder I took the paper off earlier and put it on top of the queen cage to hold it in place. That'll keep it from falling to the bottom box. It's attached and ready to go. Now I'm ready to put the bees in. So what I do, I bump them down again, spray them a little bit. You don't have to spray them much. I remove my cardboard and you put your hand right inside the box. You dump them all down to the bottom. And then you roll them right into the cage, into the hive. You're not going to get all the bees out of the cage, so what you want to do, take the rest of it, set it with the opening up right in front of the hive. The bees will fly out of it and come up in the hive because they're used to the rest of the bees. Then you set your remaining 4 frames back in the hive. Set them on top of the bees. Do not push them down. Do not push them frames down because you'll squash and kill your bees. So let them sit there for a second or two. And the bees will crawl out and crawl up on the frames. You want to, you tap on the ends and that'll make them settle down. If you notice they crawl up on them pretty quick and the frames settle down, that's because I sprayed them and that syrup's got a little bit of honeybee health in it, an amino bee booster in it, and that attracts the bees and makes them crawl up on the frame faster. And once they settle down, I center the frames right in the center of the hives, which usually is a finger width on each side. I check my queen cage, make sure it's still at the top. I put my inner cover on. And we're ready to Cadillac. The bees are ready to go. Wait 3 days and go back and see if the queen is released from the cage. We'll show that in their next step in the bee installation procedure. Thank you and have a good evening from Lookout Mountain Honeybees.